What I learned and liked about his presentation was when he used the term that they learn while play. I think if we can bring the play while learning, it becomes fun in the classroom as well. So something take away from there for me personally. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to our next esteemed speaker, Ms. Geeta Dharmarajan, who is the founder and president of Katha. Ma'am, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Geeta Dharmarajan, the writer, editor, teacher, heads Katha. And what is most likable line which I have read for the first time, and I must confess that she calls her organization a profit for all organization that she founded in 1988. Deeply interested in how learning happens across boundaries, her work has focused on story and story in education. For deep-rooted learning that celebrates India's amazing heterogeneity. Translation is integral to this process for her, especially as a counter-divisive tool in nation building. Her passions have shaped the inclusive and integrated work of Katha in the literature to literacy continuum, and its various interlinked activities in the fields of quality publishing and education for children. Her story pedagogy, based on Bharata's Natya Shastra, a 2,000-year-old treatise, has been in use in Katha's books and learning centers and the government schools Katha works in, to enhance quality schooling for children from marginalized families. Author of more than 30 books and some 400 plus articles, Geeta has served inter alia as an assistant editor of the Penn Gazette, the alumni magazine of the Ivy League, University of Pennsylvania. She received the Padma Shri Award for her innovative work in literature and education in 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ms. Geeta Dharmarajan.
I'm still trying to fix my mic, so just give me a minute.
If we can remove the tables, please.
Thank you.
Just give me 1 minute, I'll get the tables removed. Ma'am did tell me that she actually moves a lot on the stage. So, floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravi. Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. And I think there's more knowledge and more experience that side of where I am than inside me. So you have to bear with me. And also I'm a storyteller, so I just might not tell the story properly. You know how it is. Some inspiration from above has to come. But I know one thing. I think all of us have an elephant inside us, right? There is an elephant in this room, right? There is an elephant in this room. We don't know how we are going to do this. And I'm coming from Tamil Nadu, so I know the elephant very well. The elephant for me is a very happy elephant. The elephant is somebody who moves around very nicely, bumbles around like I do sometimes. I do knock around things. So I'm so happy all these tables have been removed from here, because I could have fallen right down. But the elephant that we are all worried about is how children are reading and how children are learning. Right? That's the elephant which is sitting so big inside our minds. So when I started in 1988, I had just come back from a very rarefied Ivy League atmosphere. I was at the University of Pennsylvania. I had just come back from there. And when I came to Delhi, I was, I think, first dismayed, worried, shocked, and then I was quite outraged. I said, why is this happening in our country? Why are children not able to read? So Katha was formed with an elephant called Tamasha. Tamasha was really the one who was going to help children to read. Okay? Because I had a lot of children who were coming and saying, Didi, ek kitab chahiye, Didi, ek kitab chahiye. Where can I go for one book? Started a library, started a school, started publishing for children, and that is the whole story of Katha. But this elephant which is in the room, which is in all our minds, reading, why is it a keystone skill for us? Why, when we talk about the 21st century, do we say that it is reading which is going to be the key skill that our children need? Many times we hear parents saying, my children don't like reading. My children don't like storybooks. Tell me, how do we get children to read? It's not a question of getting children to read. It's what is the atmosphere, what is the environment that we are creating for our children. Is there a book-rich environment that we can create for them, which helps them to read? So this was the question in my mind when I started Katha in 1988 to enhance the joy of reading. Now, we all know that there is a way in which we learn as Indians. I'd like to make us very special. I think we are all very special over here. Okay? I think Indians are special. When did we start reading? Somebody had mentioned, you had mentioned the Natya Shastra. That goes back 2000 years. Right? It was written maybe in the 2nd century BCE or 2nd century AD, we do not know. In the 2nd century BCE, that's 2200 years ago, there was the Sangam, poetry meet in Madurai happening. We are literate people, okay? We are educated people. There's nothing that's wrong with us as a people. But what is that education that we are talking about? When we say education, I see it as going between learning and schooling, right? I'm sure all of us will realize that. When you are talking about schooling, it is a test, it's an examination, it is children of the same age sitting together, it is competition, it is trying to be the best, not sharing, not caring, because I have to be the first, I have to be the best, right? That is what we are telling our children. We are telling them, even in advertisements that we've seen. When we were growing up, when I was growing up, I know the thing was that if you had a chocolate in your hand, it was very nice, you said, this is so nice, will you share it with me? And you would give it, we'll break it, we'll share it. You know, till I got married, I never had eaten a single chocolate on my own. Never. We were 4 children in our family, so we always used to break up the chocolate, each one would get a piece of it to eat. Then when I got married, my father-in-law got me a chocolate. And I said, kiske saath mujhe baantna hai? He said, it's for you. I said, it's all for me. And for the first time I ate a chocolate all of it. Be guilty about it. So this thing of sharing, this thing of caring is something that's within each one of us when we are growing up. Because we grew up, most of us here have probably grown up in a joint family. Right? And we are taught to. Now, when you are looking at learning, it becomes a very different thing, right? Because when you are learning, there's no such thing as एक साल के बाद इसके लिए आप exam देना है. There's no exam that you have to give in a year's time, in a quarterly, in a half yearly. There's no exam. I can read a Kabir, I can read a story, and I can say 2 साल के बाद, I can say, oh ho, so that is what the story meant. I can learn on my own. There's nobody testing me on the knowledge that I have gained. Because knowledge is like that. You see, we look at a lot of data, and the data gives us information. The information moves us to knowledge. And the knowledge should move us to wisdom, right? We have to move from knowledge to wisdom. But many times what happens in a school, we stop with that knowledge. Because we are testing children on that knowledge. What happens with the story? The story moves you from knowledge to wisdom. It gives the child a time to be herself, to learn by herself, to be what she has the potential for. So is it possible for us to combine both learning and schooling into what we call education? So that is what I was looking at when I started in 1988. I had been doing my PhD in Natya Shastra, or was trying to do my PhD in Natya Shastra, never finished it because I had 2 small babies. And that knowledge of what the Natya Shastra does for us, how we see Natya Shastra as a tool for communication. You see, today when I look around and I see so many of you looking at me, I think the time will come when I will be looking at you. Right? When you will be talking and I will be listening. This is what happens in a class. In the class, the teacher is alone, she's talking, she pauses, there's silence, and the child speaks. When you have the child speaking and the teacher speaking, that creates a rasa. That's what we call a rasa, right? I become a rasika. I say, my God, I thought this child, look how well she's talking, how beautifully she's expressing the ideas that were in my mind. I say that, right? I become a rasika of my student. When that does not happen, when I do not become a rasika of the student ceases being a rasika of me, of the teacher. Right? Because there has to be, dena dena to hona chahiye. We need to give to be able to take. So when we give respect, we get respect. When we give attention, we get attention. So this thing of paying attention to the child and listening, this is what the Bharatanatyam Shastra teaches us so nicely. So very nicely it teaches us how to be a communicator. And that's what story pedagogy, which took me 10 years after I started Katha. I started Katha in 1988. And it was not till 1999, 2000 when I said, maybe there's a way we can put all these things together and create a Natya Shastra based learning for us, for our country, for our children. Is that a possibility? Can we do something like that? So for the last 17, 18 years now, we've been having the whole of the Delhi school system using the Natya Shastra, using the story pedagogy. Not all. We've brought it into about 1,000 schools over there. So 1,000 schools are using it in Gujarat, in Jharkhand, here, everywhere. So it seems like we have something which is working. Seems like it's something that's like a chocolate, which you are ready to say, you want a bite of this. It seems to be working. It seems to be sweet. It seems to be good. So that is what we are looking at over here. Now, every 3 years in Katha, we form a strategy, just as I'm sure all of you do. You form a strategy. Where do you want to go from here? What have we learned from our previous experience and where do we want to reach? When I was looking at 2017 and what we wanted to start, I thought we need to share what Katha had learned all these years. And that was the 300 million challenge. When you look at it, the 300 million challenge, I'm sure you all know what it is. You saw it on the movie now. There are 300 million children in school today. There are 150 million children who can read and 150 million children who cannot read. That looks like a divine arithmetic to me. Why is it 150 this side and 150 that side? It could have been 200 this side and say 50 that side, or it could have been 50 this side and 150 that side, but no. By some divine grace, it's 150 million children, 15 crore children who can read and 15 crore children who cannot read. Now, can you imagine? Supposing in our country, every child could teach just one child. One child. If every child could teach one child to read. It's fun, right? For the child, there's no teacher, there's no adult sitting on top of the child and saying, Abhi padho, abhi exam karo, nothing. The child is just reading. The child is teaching. And we all know teaching is the best way of learning. We all know that, right? When you teach, you learn better. When you teach, you understand a concept better. You understand the meaning of words better. I teach fraction to a child, I know fractions much better. Because my mind is working out all the problems that I have and finding an answer for it. We have an amazing mind. Every one of us has an amazing mind. So, is it possible for us to say that every child can help another child to read? If we did that, then what is the 21st century? Somebody out there said, I'm here to learn about the 21st century skills. Of Of course we know what the 21st century skills are. It's innovation, creativity. Yes. What are the other 21st century skills that we want? Anyone knows what a 21st century skill is that we want for our children? Yeah? Pardon? Yes. And? Anyone else? Yes, please. I can't hear you. You'll have to speak. Critical thinking. Absolutely. Critical thinking. Okay. Now, when we talk about all this, reading becomes a foundation skill. I have to say it because I started Gatha to enhance the joy of reading, so I better add reading, and we all know reading is a foundation skill that we need. Right? But there's one more foundation skill that we want for our children, that every report you read, every research, every impact study will talk about. What is that? Pardon? Empathy. Empathy. Absolutely. We are talking empathy. Everyone. Somebody spoke about happiness. Right? We speak about happiness. We want happiness for our children. Whether it's my own child, whether it's a child that I'm teaching, whether it's a child who's down there, out there. And how can that happen? Each one teach one. We call it ECTC, each child teach a child. I think there's a little lilt to it, a little music to it. ECTC. I think every child can ECTC, right? Each child can teach a child. So if you can have an ECTC happening, I think that probably we will have something that we all hope for. Equality, equity, right? Now, people can ask me, why do we want equality? Why do we want equity? Everything is fine with us. We are all doing well, right? We are doing fine. Why do we need equity or equality? Let me tell you one thing. Who are the people who are living out on the street? Who are the people who are looking for education? Who are the children who would love to read? Who are those children who are saying, "Ek kitab chahiye didi"? Who are those children? They are the workforce of tomorrow. We are educating all our children to learn in English. We are putting them into these high-placed jobs. They are going to be the future bureaucrats. They are going to be the future, corporate entity. They are going to be the future of insurance. They are going to be the future of banking. Who's the workforce for them? We need a good workforce, right? Why is India so low? When you look at it, India is here because we don't have a proper workforce. We don't have education for all our children. So when they come up, you have some children who have critical thinking, who have innovation, who have everything. Because you've taught them. You've taught them all these skills which are important. But they don't have a team to work with. They need a team, right? They need a team to work with. So where are they going to get their team? That's one reason why equality and equity becomes important. Why quality for every child becomes important. The other thing, the market. Where is the market? Why is every foreign country enamored of India? Why are they all coming here? Tell me, are they coming because they love India? Are they coming because they like our elephants and they like our thing? Pardon? Yes. So, they are coming here because they think India has a growing market. India has a market which they can take advantage of. I'm sorry for using that word, but take advantage of. But can we, as Indians, see that there is a market which we can grow equitably, equally for all? Can we do that? Because if that happens, then that market is not just feeding another, it's feeding itself. That market is helping itself. That is a family which is going to come out of the payment. They are not going to be there when a car is driving fast, and they are not going to be knocked out. They are not going to be on the street because you are going to see to it that they are not on the street. We have that responsibility, right? Do you think we have that responsibility? Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So when I am looking at that market, I think when people are earning more, they are buying more. When they are buying more, you have an enabling cycle. We know that, right? We have an enabling cycle. We have people with education, The education helps them to earn better. When they earn better, they buy more. Buying more means you can have better schools. Government can invest more in schools. Then you have people who can question government. You can push government. We can say, "Ye bilkul theek nahi hai." We can say these things. And then you can move on from that into better homes, more purchases, and that will mean better education. You get into a lovely cycle, which is an enabling cycle. Where is Kata? India now. India is in something which is a disabling cycle. So you're going from lack of education for people, so the market is low, nobody is buying, so you cannot put lots of things into the market. People are not able to buy. Because they are not able to buy, they don't have the money, they are living in this, disreputating environments, and then they go from there into deeper poverty, entrenched poverty. We are in that. You are all teachers, amazing teachers in amazing schools. Ravi's told me about you, where you all come from across the country. You have the best intentions today. We heard each one of you saying, you are here to learn. And that's the first thing we want for our teachers, right? We want teachers to learn. And here we are, sitting in Bombay, saying that we are a group of us, a small group of us, like Margaret Mead says, every change can happen because there's a small group of well-meaning people. We need this small group to be galvanized. We need this small group to think that sab barabar hai to acha hai. It's good for India to be equal. It's good for India to have quality education for all. So this is what, have I finished my time? Yes? 5 minutes more. Okay. So I'm going to finish now with just this one thing that I want to say. What if all our children were helping one another? What if every school can adopt one other school and say that I have one school that I'm responsible for. One school that I'll bring up to that level in which my children are. Just one school. If supposing our children in well-meaning, good schools are saying, let's come in and make this website so we can put leverage technology so that we can get every child reading good stories. The fact is that the story of India can be much better if all of us are working together. So I'm inviting all of you to do this, and I want to finish with a small little story. This comes from Kabir. I'm sure many of you have heard the story. It's the story of a little bird and a big forest fire. There is this huge raging forest fire out there, and all the animals are running out, and all the birds are running out, all the caterpillars and all the worms are all running out of there because they're saying, this forest is being destroyed. We cannot stay here. But there's one little bird which is going back and forth, going from outside into this raging forest and back again. And some of these animals, they say, are you mad? What is happening to you? Why are you going into that furnace over there, that raging fire? Why do you want to go? This bird is carrying a beak full of water every time to put out that raging fire. A beak full of water. What can a beak full of water do to put out a fire? You tell me. But that is what this bird was doing, carrying beakfuls. And when these animals said, "Aap kya kar rahe hain? Why are you carrying this beak full of water? Are you mad?" The bird says, I'm doing what I can. I'm doing my best. Right? That's Kabir for you. That's the knowledge we have in our country. That's the wisdom we have in our country. So I want to go back and say, is it possible for us to, as a group of thought leaders, educational thought leaders in this room, can we talk about empathy and kindness, which will make us all more happy, happier, better, अच्छा इंसान बनने के लिए एक अच्छा तरीका है. Is it possible for us to do that? Is it possible for us to help one another? Ravi had mentioned collecting books. A lot of people came together to help make this happen. PVR is one of them. So in Delhi last month, we collected 30,000 books, which went into our urban, in the NCR region. We have started some 60 libraries for children, which are run by the children. It's called a community-owned and operated library. What's the acronym? Community-owned and operated library? Cool. It's a cool place to be, right? So we started these cool places for our children, and it's run by our children. It's run by the community. It's run in these homes, and there is this great urge in them to become more literate, to be able to read. Education, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, education is not literacy. Education is thinking right. Education is having the wisdom to do what is best. So I leave you with Kabir, I leave you with the story, and I hope and pray somewhere near you, some slum, some school, a government school, please go there and please do whatever you can. Be that little bird of Kabir and just help out. Yeah? Thank you so much. Oh,
Thank you, Ms. Dharmarajan. Are there any questions from the audience? All right. I think the time has come for us to create our alliances and collaborations, what I gather from ma'am's talk. I think it's time we need to collaborate not only with someone like herself or the Magic Bus, but even amongst each other, because sharing always brings the best results out. And with this, I'll request Ravi again to please come on stage.